Hello, everybody. My name's Nick, and one of the games I feel like honestly defined me as a person that wanted to jump into creating more videos as the years went on was definitely Crysis. This is a game that I've been talking about for honestly as long as I've probably been talking about wanting to make videos and getting back into making videos. And this was definitely a game that sent kind of a benchmark for me into more, I guess, like creating a hobby for myself. And I feel like this is also a game that was also very big for the PC community, of course, because this kind of just launched the whole kind of run Crysis meme. People were kind of making mods and making this game just look like the best game that ever released at the time. And some of the mods to this day are still very impressive, and they make other games currently releasing look like very much of a joke. But this is a very special game with a very special community and a lot of passionate people who are very into the idea of what Crysis was when it came out. It was pretty much just like a tech demo, which just turned out to an actual game and became kind of like, I don't know if you call it like a industry type of thing or like an icon type of game, but it definitely became like a benchmark. Like everyone, whenever they wanted to run a PC or whenever they wanted to test out how strong a PC, they would just pop in Crysis, try to, well, first of all, set everything at the highest settings and see how the computer handled it. I mean, right now the computer that I'm running here is 8 gigabyte RAM with a GTX 1060 and some other stuff. And it can't run the game on the highest settings, but it runs Crysis 2 and 3 on Ultra. So, it's just the engine and, what's the word for it? Optimizing. It's all about optimizing and making things the best that you can. So, what's crazy to me is that they announced a remaster, and the remaster looked worse than this currently does right now. Again, you are watching the original OG release of Crysis. This is playing at recorded this around March time, so this video is a little bit older, but still the same game. With everything set on very high. So this is pretty much the equivalent of most likely what you've seen at this point if you haven't. But the sad part is the remaster is supposed to basically just make the game look prettier and make it run better, and of course bring it back to Xbox, PlayStation, and even the Switch with what the PC gave you at the time. Because granted, they did release a 360 version of the game, but it wasn't that great. It was very subpar. It was just a bare bones version of the game. They took out a lot of what made you feel for what Crysis really was. Because if not, the whole point of the game is pretty much having all this particle physics and all of these advanced things going on at the same time, but being able to play this game, and it just felt very next gen at the time. It had all these abilities that you could toggle, and a lot of that led into gameplay where if you used armor in a certain way, you were able to tank certain shots. If you used strength when you were shooting, it would steady your gun out, and then when you would use speed like that, you could pretty much just clear massive gates. So the game at the time was very much ahead of what they were doing for a lot of other games, but sadly, they didn't really follow through with it, and they changed up the formula of Crysis 2 and 3. But regardless of what I'm saying, that's just a different case. But yeah, the remaster. So they ended up just delaying the game as a whole for a few weeks, they say, and the launch trailer for a few weeks. This was all supposed to happen as of Wednesday, which was yesterday at this rate. So honestly, as a major Crysis fan and someone who's always been very, very, very loyal to the game, I've always talked very highly about it. I've always loved it, and I've always talked to my friends about just how much of an impact it's had on my life personally, how fun of a game it's been, and how I've always gone back to it during like tough times in my life, and just times where I wanted to kind of get away and just play something different, kind of just get away from all the current games right now, which I love all the games out right now, but a lot of the times, honestly, I find myself, I wouldn't say troubled, but I definitely find myself kind of like stuck. There's a lot of great multiplayer games out there. There's a lot of great single player games out there, but there's not a lot of games personally that fit that feeling of Crysis. That's why I feel like Crysis is very much a one of a kind game. Of course, they have games like Far Cry, which kind of have the same type of method to its madness, I guess, where it's just run around this island and cause chaos and go through this single player campaign where you do all this stuff. But not a lot of games give you this super powered fantasy where you get to act like a predator but also strike like a hunter and be able to just kind of play the game your way, man. Attack missions from different directions, different directives. You could do different things. You could either go in complete stealth, or you could do what I'm doing and just kind of mix it up. Personally, I like to mix it up. I don't like to play this game completely stealth. I used to do that when I first started the game. I would just play it completely stealth, but I felt like that kind of drained from the aspect of the other half options of the suit, strength, speed, and all those other things. One thing that honestly was something that kind of really made me feel for this game is definitely the suit, but also the fact that it kind of has its own perks built into that, you know, and also that menu you just saw where you customize your gun on the fly. That, for some reason, I don't know why, that was like the coolest thing to me that I ever saw at the time. And there's very few games that have implemented that since, and that's okay with me because I feel like that's like a very Crysis thing. But I don't know, man. I'm hoping the remaster is fantastic. I'm hoping the remaster is something that's not just a step in the right direction for Crysis, but it's a future for Crysis. I want Crysis to be on next gen. I want it to be a game that comes out and Crytek, you know, just decides, yeah, we're gonna make this big creative jump into consoles, but we're gonna use this next gen hardware, and we're really gonna bring out all the stops, and we're gonna do all this stuff that they say they're gonna do for the remaster, but they do it for the game. I'm hoping, but we'll see. We'll find out what happens. This is something that, again, they said a few weeks, so hopefully I can do a follow-up around that time, maybe capture some gameplay when that releases. But personally, I'm excited, and I want to see more, and I'm just hoping for the best. But at that rate, I mean, we're going to see where this game leads us. We're going to see where it takes off. But for that, I think I'm going to leave it at that for now, and leave you guys with the next minute of just raw gameplay. Just see the rest of this little snippet. Anyways, my name is Nick. Take care. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. And, you know, stop by sometime. Maybe check out some of the other gameplay clips I throw out every now and then. I like to do a lot of mobile games, some console games here and there. But yeah, take care, enjoy, and have a good day.